Welcome to the latest episode of Branding the Experience. We discuss ways how we can create environments where employees actually want to come to work and customers want to keep coming back. I am Ken Bader, your host for Branding the Experience, and I have a great guest today. His name is John Deel. Let me tell you a little bit about him because he's always on change, and we'll talk a little bit about change. John Deel is a thankful and humbled to be branded by his customers as an organizational change management expert and recognized leader of the people side of change. Many businesses are facing significant and always on change to remain competitive. Advances in technology remains a big factor in being relevant and viable. Businesses are increasingly appreciating the importance of people in driving business results, and I certainly agree with that. And John believes people are the game, and this is his lane. John, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, Ken, I really appreciate that. I really do. And just as long as when people leave out of here, that they understand that change is in my DNA. So
Yeah.
that's what I do. That's what I love to do. And I love to help people navigate through change. So I'm just delighted to be here with Ken. Ken is awesome. He's a lot funnier than I am. So let's just have a good time here this afternoon and learn a little bit from each other.
Sounds perfect, my friend. And you know, one thing that we need to change is, and this is going to be our main subject for today, but we'll veer off possibly here and there, is branding on LinkedIn. Because if you want to have client engagement or prospect engagement and keep them coming back, you need to brand yourself properly on LinkedIn. And as I talked about in the show earlier this week with Rhonda and Sean, it's being on LinkedIn can be aggravating, man. Especially today with everybody trying to hard sell you. Yeah, how do we change that, my friend? How do we brand properly on LinkedIn?
Well, here's the thing. So, I guess some of it is experience, Ken, because I got involved in LinkedIn early on in 2008. And I'm going to tell people, if you really want to know about me and a little bit more of my journey, just go to LinkedIn, type in my name, you'll find me, and connect or ask to connect, and I'm an open
Yeah.
network. I'll
And if
connect
you're
with
gonna
you.
if you're gonna type that in, it is Deel, not Deal. That's a different deal. So John Deel, Deel.
And I will come up, right? So you can look at that. But here's the thing: since 2008, I've been involved in this. Okay, so some of it's just by learning and trial and error. So basically, if I was here to tell you that my digital identity, my professional digital identity in the world today, in the world, not the United, in the world today, is defined by my LinkedIn profile, full stop. Not Facebook, not Instagram, not Twitter, not TikTok, not even Clubhouse now. It's been LinkedIn. I didn't define that. I didn't make that up. That was the people that invented that technology. So I tell people that if you think about your profile and you look at that and you go, what are other people seeing in that? They can find that and they can make a decision. I think I want to connect with this guy, or this guy can help me. So you got to be very clear way up front. This is what I do. And so you can see, like, Ken said at the beginning, John, the always on change. Well, guess what? I learned that when you type in your name on LinkedIn, you could say your name is Ken Bader or John Deel,
Hmm.
but you don't know that you could type something right past your last name and that shows up on your profile. So my name is not Deel always on check. My name is John Deel, but just something simple like that, because they're like, well, how did you get that to do that? Right. So I said, your digital identity is defined there. And I've had a lot of practice. I've taught a lot of people how to do that, but look for a website. I don't have a website.
Well,
My
your
digital,
website is basically your LinkedIn profile, and there's nothing wrong with that.
there you go. And I guarantee you later on, I'm going to tell you exact story that happened to me on Monday about branding from LinkedIn. But I'm going to give it back to Ken here for a second.
All right. Well, one thing I really like about what you're saying, and also what I read from your LinkedIn profile, is that technology is a conduit for human interaction, not a replacement for human interaction. I've seen this and I've talked about this in a few different veins, and that's how you use it. Yeah, you use it as a way to really make a human connection and not force people into some type of tech process. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it's really because here's the thing, that if you look at when you go to my profile, you'll see, well, John was in IT for 20 years. He went from a computer scientist out of Virginia Tech all the way to a CIO, 20 years in IT. How in the heck did he wake up one day and decide he wanted to be a change practitioner, right? So I was a tech nerd. I was a CIO, for God's sake. I've left that career behind. So I believe more in things like, and I didn't make this up, I wish I did, people do business with or hang out with people that they know, like, and trust.
Correct.
Did I say people that use Zoom, Microsoft Teams, SharePoint, TikTok, Clubhouse? No.
MySpace.
Right. I never had
We'll
one of
go.
those, but
We'll go back a couple decades.
never had
But
one.
go ahead.
So people that they know, like, and trust. So if you can use technology as a conduit for that,
Mhm.
now because I've left the technology field to my decision to join what they call the change field. So I'm happy having most of the time helping people navigate change through something that's been impacted by technology. Give you an example. Somebody back when the ERP, oh, we need to put in SAP. It's a large scale enterprise resource planning software. It's a conglomerate. It's huge. It's complicated. We need to put that in. Well, that's a technology interaction inside a company. Well, I don't specialize in the technology, but how's that going to impact the people's lives inside that business, right? So, but technology can help enable people to change and will actually make people change. What do we do? Look at email. What do we do? We can't not set our phone down or something. First thing we're looking at email. Well, so technology is an enabler and sometimes a bad enabler of a change or a behavior that we have. So I'm in there trying to make it for the good inside businesses because they've made that decision to do something with technology. But I'm thinking about the people every day. How is that going to impact their life in the workplace? So technology just being an enabler. LinkedIn has been an enabler for people to reach out to me and find out what the heck does John do?
And where does he get those great hats?
The hats? Is that
Well,
what you said?
I said, yeah, they can find that out through LinkedIn, can't they?
Well, no, what they do is once they watch me, because I'm going to get famous like Ken and be on these shows. So I got multiple hats. And today this is my smart hat. Okay.
Okay.
So I have a smart hat. I have a fun hat. I got 7 different hats that I use on different things. Today I said, I got to act like I'm a little bit smart. Okay.
Okay.
So I put on my smart hat today. So I hope
Well,
everybody loves my smart hat.
well, I appreciate you putting the smart hat on today, rather than the dumbass hat, which I usually wear on a daily basis. But whether I'm actually wearing a hat or not, but you bring up a great point, and I know this is branding the experience and not cool culture corner, but the best IT experts, professionals that I've worked with have always been really personable on the management team, and the ones that have always created a domino effect of, let's just say, chaos in an organization, you simply push a technology piece at you and say, hey, this is great new technology, we got approved for it, it's in the budget, use it and figure it out. But the best IT people always understand that people need to be a part of the process first before the technology to that point. And then I want you to comment on this from your area of expertise. I literally was talking to a client just 2 weeks ago, and she was saying we've got a new CEO and he wants to do, I believe he says, I want to put in a brand new CRM, which in and of itself is not a bad idea, but the reasoning was to do a quick fix to the problem. And what I suggested is maybe that makes sense, but don't you want to look at the process today and what you have? Because it's very possible that you don't necessarily need to put another piece of technology on what you're already doing, but look at the process that you have, maybe fix a chink in the chain and use the technology you have today better.
Right. I wonder if they were putting in Salesforce.
What's funny is we talked about Salesforce, and I have used Salesforce before. I think for people that know how to use it, it is a great technology. For those that are a little bit behind the curve, is I and my team were years ago at a particular organization, not so much.
Yeah. So if you go right back to the heart of the thing with, when you talk about branding the experience, so when you think
Yeah.
about what happens on the ground as a change practitioner in there, which is really is part of creating the story and the brand around that experience that their CIO or CEO or whatever their company leadership is saying, we have to do this. This is why we have to do this. And when you insert this could be, we got to learn how to do something with this new technology. That's a lot of times the case, but it could be you guys have to understand, or everybody has to understand now that we've bought 3 companies in the last year.
Hmm.
So that's a merger acquisition. So we need to figure out how we're going to put these pieces together. This is what we're trying to do. Well, the top leadership needs to say that and believe in that. But then how are we going to operationalize what they're saying, the experience inside the people as you get closer to the work, to the person down there pushing the keys? So seriously, as a change practitioner, part of our job is naming the thing, which is almost like brand. What is this thing we're going to call inside? Forget Salesforce. We're calling this transformation something. You can make a contest about that. It's back to your point.
Yep.
Now you're getting people involved with, okay, we got to do this. So we're going to let the people help brand it, help people help create the experience. Yes, there's going to be people that don't want any part of it. But this is what's interesting, Ken. This was hard, and COVID threw us a curve, or me a
Yeah.
curve, was when you go back to people do business that they know, like, and trust. So when you're on the ground with them, branding that experience or stepping in through that experience, a lot easier when you're, quote, on the ground.
Hmm.
And that's why when people look at my LinkedIn profile and they download the infographic and they look at the map and they go, holy crap, John's Deel been everywhere from everywhere in the United States all the way to Australia and Saudi Arabia
Hmm.
and never in Atlanta. What's wrong with that? He lives there. What's going on? Well, I had to go where the work is. So I had to be
Yeah.
part of that experience where the work was. And now COVID has put this whole different, so now we're having to do some of the things you're talking about, Ken, without having that physical touch.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I haven't written or read that book yet. I don't know if it's been written. In other words, how can we actually help people change behaviors
Yeah.
without being on the ground like we used to be through that experience when we see them and we're breathing the same airspace? Big challenge. And
Yeah.
I've been faced with that. And you're right, technology sometimes has to help facilitate that. Look at what we're doing now.
Yeah. Now a word from our sponsor, Bader Training and Consulting. BTC has recently partnered with the Success Corps to offer the Podcast for Business Success package. Launching a podcast allows your business to engage directly with your established audience, strengthening an existing bond while simultaneously developing future relationships with prospects who they may have never done business with or met otherwise. Ken Bader and Sean Douglas utilize branding, culture, and strategy to increase engagement between company and customer by launching your uniquely branded, strategically designed podcast, fostering customer relations and business growth. Ken and Sean have hosted over 1,000 podcast episodes across multiple shows and channels. You can watch live, in person, or virtually as they speak at most podcast events around the country, highlighting their expertise as icons of influence in the podcasting space. Ken and Sean not only teach the art of podcasting, but are well known and respected practitioners, launching dozens of top rated shows between them and their clients. Ken is also a frequent contributor to Podcast Magazine. Rather than launching your podcast on your own, wouldn't it make sense to have not one but 2 icons of influence teach you how? Of course it would. So harness the power of your past to launch your future with a perfectly branded podcast. Contact BTC at info@btcinc.net today with podcast package in the subject line for more information today. Yeah, and yeah, I appreciate, in terms of technology and using it to not only brand yourself, but to create some engagement. I appreciate when people link up with me or send me an email give me one first, a legitimate reason why I would want to talk to them, and two, instead of say, hey, let's hop on a call, say, let's do a 15-minute Zoom or a 5-minute Zoom. I appreciate that because I could see their face. I could tell my jokes with a stupid expression on my face, so they know that it's a joke and I'm not being serious. Yeah, this works, man. You know.
But here's so back to branding that experience or
Sure.
branding yourself via LinkedIn or whatever. How about I've told it, make it easy. Okay, and this is interesting because if you roll the clock back 10 years ago when I was
Mhm.
teaching this, and I never wanted to be a teacher of LinkedIn. I'm a practitioner. I like being on the ground, but I was helping people. I never forget back in a couple churches where they'd call me in for the networking events at night because all these people were unemployed and
Yeah.
and I'd have raised a hand. So how many people in the room have heard of LinkedIn? And a lot of them raised their hand. I said, how many people in the room have a LinkedIn profile? And I'd see maybe 20% of the people throw up their hand. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, wow. And I'm just like, so then I went on to teach a couple seminars just to help these people, right? But here's the thing. I told people, make it easy. Now, I'm a trusting soul,
Yeah.
but make it easy for people to get to know who you are.
Yeah.
So in other words, have a good LinkedIn profile. So if someone takes 30 seconds to look at it, you're making it easy for them to know what that experience is right there in words, in your
Yeah.
picture or what you're saying, your first sentence. So make it easy. Also, contact information. And I never forget when I had a mixed crowd of men and women. I said, look, I put my phone number in there, my email, my blood type. No one's ever stole my dog, broke into my house. Now, I was trying to, because people say, oh, I can't put my phone number in there. I've been doing it but so I make it easy for people to find me
Right.
and want to connect with me. And I've never been penalized for that.
Yeah.
And I take time to make sure my profile is relevant.
Mhm.
It's going to give something back, but it's it's not it's not the best in the world, but it's done, and that's why I want to share this story before we get off about ask me about the
Tell me
what
the
happened.
story. Tell us the story
Okay.
right now, because if no for no other reason, I'm damn interested and curious in the story. So go for
Okay, so you got to hear this story for everybody, and then you can ask me why later. But I won't be able to tell you all the reasons why. So
it.
imagine Monday, true story. Monday, someone called me. Well, I have a number, and my number is contact info. I don't
Mhm.
have it locked down. I have an email, and they call me. So there was one person. Another person emailed me. One person emailed me over the weekend. I'm just looking. So now we're up to 5 people on Monday before noon
Mhm.
were reaching out to me. And some of them I knew how, but if I didn't, I'd ask them.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you the answer. All 5 of those people who I did not know, their first name, last name, I had no idea who these people were,
Mhm.
came to me through my humble opinion, fairly well done LinkedIn profile. You go look at it.
Yeah.
All right. So then at 2:30 or 3:30, I forget, on the afternoon, another person, that was caller number 6. And I said, and this
It's
guy
like
happened,
it's like you're running a radio show. Caller number 6.
yeah, because I told him, so he calls me and I knew, I said, Brad, I said, you won't believe what's happened today. Because he was calling me, say, John, I think you might be able to help me on this gig that I got. There's a big insurance company is going through a major transformation with their back office operation, blah, blah, blah. I was like, fine. I said, well, get in line, dude, because I had 5 people call me. He said, how'd that happen? And I said, well, it, the power of my LinkedIn profile. It's
Yeah.
either they saw my profile, they read the first 2 sentences, they could tell that I'm some kind of change expert, and a couple of them looked at my infographic, which is just one little featured file in the top that people can accidentally click on. So think about that for a second. So I'm going, so I'm not saying that you throw all your eggs in that basket, but it
Right.
surely can't hurt. And now I'm looking into things like, yeah, how about be a podcast guest? How about tell a story or two? Visibility begets visibility. I'm just going to get more visible in another way instead of my LinkedIn profile. All for the reason, if I can help people navigate change via the power of giving back, which is the secret sauce formula that I found out to do the work that I've done, I'm going to be a better person when I decide to retire and fish and play golf for the rest of my life. Okay. So
Amen, brother.
that's where that is. But think about that. So branding, that branding all came from that presence
Right.
that we can't argue with is out there. It's not the full stop silver bullet.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, I'm living proof that it is powerful and it can work.
Yeah, if you're, I tell people, if you're especially in business to business, but any type of professional business, you really need to be on there. LinkedIn is my personal favorite social media platform. I find for the most part there isn't a lot of political stuff on there. It's just all business, and for the most part, unless somebody bastardized it by being aggressively salesy, it is really some great information and great way to engage. As a change expert, what have you seen, or possibly an even better question is, what have you done to change and improve your profile over the years, given the changes in the times and what people are looking for?
Well, this is a very good question because I'm still learning. Okay. So
Yeah,
everybody needs
as we all are, man.
you need to come to that table. I'm still learning. So what I've done, in the so in LinkedIn, you have to figure out a way to show at the very top, like that little trick with your name, put something behind your name. Like it could be Ken Bader, and then his last name really, as far as the field's concerned, it could be Ken Bader, and you could think up a buzzword like whatever.
Yeah.
What would that be for you?
Oh,
Uh,
I do so many things. It would probably be the B plus C plus S
there you
creator or
go.
something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they would see it, and then boom, that would be right there. But they didn't know that you typed that next to your last name in the field.
Right.
That's when you're building it, right?
Hmm.
So I learned that little trick, and a lot of these tricks I learned or someone else told me, right? The second thing is LinkedIn only shows you so much. They only show you like these 3 lines or so, and then you have to
Right.
click more. Well, what I had to learn to do is because I can't change that. So I actually had to tickle people in my communication says, and oh, by the way, just hit click more.
Hmm.
Because when they do, they get to see some other stuff. Now that's limited to 300 whatever characters LinkedIn says it is.
Right.
But think about this, the way I used to word that a year or two ago, I'm getting better with wording that. So if they do happen to click more, when they read that, they go, okay, he's talking about things that are going to help me potentially.
Hmm.
But think about this. Say somebody's trying to build a practice out there. So you got other management
Yeah.
consultants saying, well, man, we're trying to build a change practice because all our competitors are having that. So one of the ways I wrote something was, I'm going to help you. And I think that's the third one. What if you're thinking about building a change practice? You can chat with me about that because I did that twice before. So
Yeah.
in other words, there's 3 things. I tell them there's 3 things that I think other people are having trouble with, or maybe I could help you with, as opposed to me say, look, I just think there's 3 things. And they go, well, shoot, it's one of those 3 things. The first one is so obvious. That's why most people, I said, how about I can help you ring the cash register?
Hmm.
So if people want to bring me in, sometimes they bring me in, but guess what? They're going to make money on me. Right? So they pay
Exactly.
me this, but they charge the client that. So I will help you ring the cash register. How? Because I'm going to get on the ground and do good work. They're going to ask me to stay there and stay there and stay there. And you're going to keep making money on me as I make my money and give it to my wife and go fish and play golf. So it's all, you have to start wording that stuff correctly. Not so much about your, like it reads like a resume. And I'm still tweaking
Yeah.
that every day because that's what I find when people click more and read that, that's what's exciting them
Right.
to call me up. Not just my picture and always on change, but
Hmm.
and then I ask them, I'm brave enough to ask them, what made you call me?
Hmm.
And I'm trusting that they're telling me the truth. And so when I hear this,
Which they probably are. Why would they say, hey, we found your number on the bathroom wall? They'll just tell you that we
you know,
found you on LinkedIn.
think about think about in your business. Why wouldn't you want them to say, because Ken, that formula resonates with me, and that makes me think that you and your partner there
Yeah.
are the best in doing what you do. So daggone, why wouldn't I call you?
Exactly.
So and and I'm telling you, 5 times out of 6 were calls not because I had already talked to them about how good I am. No,
Mhm.
they figured that out. So I'm just saying, look at that. But there's other good marketeers out there telling you what to say and how to say it in their words, et cetera, et cetera. Trust me, I'm going to school every day and I'm tweaking things every day. But make it easy and make it relevant. And then for the people that do see my profile and don't want to talk to me,
Mhm.
I have no problem.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that. I mean, I'm an expert at one thing.
Yeah.
I'm the godfather of change. Full stop.
Well,
That's it.
so many great points there, John. And yeah, I tell a lot of people because people ask me, not just about my LinkedIn profile, but the podcasts I do, this video podcast. They say, well, how many clients, how much business do you get from all this content? And I say, directly, very little. I do get sometimes some people that do reach out to me, but what it's done for me, and other people have echoed this, is it has shrunk the sales cycle from this to about this. In that, when I have that first conversation with a true qualified prospect, yeah, I already saw you on LinkedIn. I saw you on Branding the Experience. I saw you on Cool Culture Corner. Da, 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 da. I already know what you're about. All I need to know is X, Y, and Z before we start doing business, and if we can do business.
Isn't
And
that
it makes it basically a 15-20 minute phone call or conversation, when before it used to take, as whether it be 20 weeks, sometimes even 20 months.
yeah, isn't that the coolest thing? You want to
Yeah.
be recognized for something. So I have a company, it's called Close Work
Hmm.
Consulting Partners. Close Work Consulting Partners, but they'll go Google that and they won't find a website.
Hmm.
You can go on Facebook and there's nobody there because my website is where it is.
Yeah.
Okay. But
Or your
so
LinkedIn profile is where it is.
that's my
Yeah.
brand. That's my website. Now it says in there he's the CEO of Close Work Consulting Partners. And yes, I have to have that as a legal entity so I can do business and write contracts with other people and be insured for $2 million.
Yeah.
Whatever. See, so but that's not even some people might say, well, why'd you name it that? I'm like, I'm glad you asked because I thought it was pretty cool. Close work, because what I do is called close work.
Hmm.
Up until COVID, it's hands on.
Yeah.
I live where they live. I eat where they eat. The experience is branded based upon we breathe the same airspace. I go to the barbecues. I work out in their gyms. I'm one with the client. That is my family inside work. That's what I do.
Yeah.
And I help them people. But to be helping them people, you have to brand that experience. You have to be in that experience. You have to show up where they show up.
Yeah.
And then eventually they're going to get to know you. Most of the time I get people to like me. That's the easier part.
You are a very likable guy, and that's a lot for me to say, John.
I know because you're everybody. Every time I see you on a show, I want them to like you more, and I get upset when
I
they don't.
appreciate that.
I get upset when they don't because I don't understand it. Because I don't. So, but that know, like, and trust is so thing, and that relationship thing, and that experience is so much the thing. I focus more on that
Yeah.
than anything, and I'm blessed that the LinkedIn profile does that for me, and I would be happy to share that with people. But it's just I know that it's work, and I speak from the heart. But what I really like to do, what's in my DNA, I said at the beginning, helping people navigate change
Hmm.
is in my DNA. You have to get people to know, like, and trust you. I want people to want me to show up on Monday.
Hmm.
Not here comes the next management. No, we can't wait till John gets there on Monday.
Yeah.
So the people I like to work with, we got to own that together. What can I do for you? Every day I tell people, every day I got to do something for my client.
Hmm.
Either I got to
Exactly.
give them something, I got to teach them something, I got to say something that's probably a good thing to say or advice, or every day I have to do something for my client
Hmm.
that they can either reach out and touch or feel.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you have to do. Now, unfortunately, we have to do that now, COVID style.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
it's technology being what it is going back to if you're truly using it as a conduit to make a human connection, there's still a lot that we can do. And I'm totally on board with what you just said. You and I probably both have a packed calendar. And when I have 20 minutes, in between meetings, in between tasks, one of the things that I always ask myself is what's most important now? And almost always it's something just a little bit extra for one of my clients. Maybe it's sending that PDF. Maybe it's sharing an article that, that they were really struggling with this the last meeting. I saw this article from a fellow expert. I'm just going to send it to them because I think it'll help. So it's those little things from a branding the experience standpoint that make us consultants stand out. As we wrap up here, is there a number one tip on branding on LinkedIn that you could share with our audience? And maybe it's something you already mentioned, or something that has really helped you.
I would say do everything you can to try to make it easy for them to contact you,
Yeah.
two, understand is what you do. It's okay with being real about what you do. You're not doing everything. I didn't say I'm a circus clown. No, I do one thing. So when they think about John Deel, I'm the icon of change. I'm the godfather of change. You know, I'll put that. I'm the sensei of change or whatever. But and I've used to have those things in there, but I took them out. So I think that's why I was kind with always on change. I just want them to know John is the change guy from a professional perspective. It's easy for to contact him. He clearly states what he can do for us. And there's one, I can help you with 1, 2, 3. And the 1, 2, 3 spell out. And guess what? It's okay if it's not those three. Then you don't need to call me.
Yeah.
So it's make it easy, make it clear, and be authentic and open in any kind of your wording or whatever, like the recommendations that I got. So there's a combination of things, but I would say too, get a couple other people to say maybe some things that they really believe, because you know what? Sometimes somebody will say, John, you know what? I read a couple of your recommendations or the people that said something about you.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, I appreciate that. That means you got way down at the bottom of that profile. I'm like,
Yep.
wow. And so when they hear someone else saying, John Deel, when he's on the ground, he always tries to stay 3 steps ahead of it. So I'd rather other people tell other people about how good I am, or
Mm-hmm.
my wife to tell me that. No, you know what? I like to get on the ground and earn that.
Right.
That's what's a lot of fun for me. And like I said, so don't underestimate for all those people the power of LinkedIn. And there's plenty of other experts out there that can teach you how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But make sure you're present and that your digital identity is defined out there and it's easily consumed and found.
Yeah.
That's what I could tell you.
It's a great tip in and of itself. This usually the part of the show where I ask a great guest like yourself is how can our audience find you? But I'm pretty sure that they can best find you on LinkedIn. Did I get that right?
It's so here's the other thing: make it easy, because I complicate things, other people complicate things.
Yeah.
We got to have a funnel. We got to have this. We got to pay for this. No. It's easy. You want to know a little bit more about me? Just connect with me on LinkedIn, and you're gonna learn a little bit. And plus, I ain't bugging you. I don't need to bug you. I told you right up front.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing. And I know I know what's happening out there. People are starting to try to, and I just click no to those things. There's some
Yeah.
people out there trying to sell me on the, but I just say no, not interested, and then done. And I hate being mean, but that doesn't happen. I'm not swamped with that stuff.
Yeah.
Because they know. Look, I'm not gonna mess with John Deel because he does this one thing, he does it well, and so unless I need that, I ain't gonna mess with him.
Yeah. Sometimes, as I found out literally just earlier this week, just saying no doesn't get him to stop either. But if you connect with John, I guarantee you he's not gonna bug you on LinkedIn. So
No.
seek him out on LinkedIn. His name is John Deel, Deel, always on change. John, thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
I appreciate you, Ken. Really do. Thanks so much.
My pleasure. And thank you to all of you who have spent some time with us today. And here's hoping that you're branding the experience at a very high level for all those you serve. Take care.
Thank you very much, y'all.